A lot of fish I shoot, I'm looking at the fish and not looking down the gun. The best gun you can buy is the one that works for you. I started getting more into blue water and bigger guns, and then being the creative side, being a carpenter, I'm just hands-on and I want to start building my own guns and start shooting fish with my own guns.
G'day legend, welcome to the Noob Spirit Podcast. My name is Shrek and I get to interview spearfishing experts from around the world. Today it's Stephen Montgomery from, he lives in the Central Coast. He makes Bombora spear guns. Josh, the president of the Central Coast Sea Lions, reached out to me. The Central Coast Sea Lions have been patron listeners to the Noob Spirit for a while, so it's my absolute pleasure to get Stephen on care of their recommendation. And Stephen's spear guns made out of teak. But he's obviously gone on a bit of a learning process. When you geek out on spear guns long enough and make enough of them, you really start to fine-tune your process and think a lot about what goes into them. So Stephen's a thoughtful guy. Today I try to put him to task on a lot of the decision-making that goes around with choosing different components with spear guns, materials, composition, the lot. So have a bit of a listen. I hope you enjoy it and add to the conversation if you want. Jump on YouTube, and the video comments there can be a really good place to, because we've got video podcasts now. This one's a video podcast, so go there and put up your thoughts on what you heard, maybe something that challenged you out of what Stephen was sharing today. But I hope you enjoy it and get the most out of it. As usual, share it up with your mates. Keep this sucker growing. Hey, talking about growing, Noob Spiro is nearly 11 years deep. And we're going to mark that with episode 300, which is pretty crazy. A little spearfishing podcast making 300 episodes. So I'd love to get you involved. Please go to noobspiro.com, head up into the menu Give Back, and find Noober Stories. You can leave me a voice message. I'd love to hear one reason why you listen to the Noob Spiro podcast. If you've got some epic fishtail or scary moment, please share that as well. And if you've got some feedback or ideas to improve the show, someone you want to hear on, or a topic you want covered, I'd love to have that included and hear why you would like to listen to maybe another 100 episodes of the Noob Spirit podcast. But that'd be awesome. So again, go to noobspiro.com, head up into the menu Give Back, and there's a Noober Stories section there where you can leave a voice message up to 3 minutes. Otherwise, you can just take a video on your smartphone, send that in to me as well. Just email at shrek@noobspiro.com through one of the file sharing services. That'd be magic. Hey, just quickly, the patron legends keep powering this podcast week on week, month on month. We've just moved to a monthly billing cycle now. Some of the benefits are, for adless podcasts, so no ads at all. If you are a spearfishing business, this might work for you. There's all different, I'm going to read out a bunch of benefits. There's different benefits depending on what level you support at. Everyone gets an exclusive monthly email which contains one awesome recipe, one actionable tip, and early access to merch, charter, or deep discount. Short, high value content of the frothiest kind, only once a month in your inbox. Also, gain access to a place where you can submit questions for the Noob Spirit podcast, recommend future guests. We have a private Discord group and early access to courses, charters, and live events. If you would like to do that, go to patreon.com/Noob Spirit. But otherwise, I want to get into today's episode. Stephen Montgomery, Bombora Spear Guns. Here we go. This episode of the Noob Spirit podcast is brought to you by Astard Pole Spears. Use the code Noob Spirit for free shipping anywhere in the world. At Astard, they honor the ocean, taking only what they need and leaving it as pristine as the armor have for generations. Check it out at astard.co. Equipped with a slip tip, stainless steel leader, dynamic cord for versatility and durability, made from absolute premium materials, no mucking around, 630 stainless steel, carbon fiber, and titanium. Manufactured in Japan, hand assembled in Australia and Japan, the Astard roller pole spear delivers unmatched performance, combining functionality, durability, and tradition. Get into it at astard.co. ASTARD.co. Check it out. Pole spears to just die for. I've got to give you the hot tip. Check them out. Use the code NoobSpiro. Free shipping anywhere on the planet. Check them out. Are you US based? Looking for freediving, spearfishing gear? Neptonics is the best. Their online website's so easy to use. If you've got any questions, Jerry and the team answer questions via phone, email, Anyway, they've got an easy contact form on the site. These guys are absolute legends, and if they sell it, they believe in it, they back it, they use it themselves. It's tough gear that works. Visit neptonics.com. Use the code NOOB10 to save 10% on any order at neptonics.com. That's right. Use the code NOOB10, N-O-O-B 10 on your next order. Save 10% at neptonics.com. Today's Noob Spirit podcast is brought to you in partnership with Adreno. Live it, breathe it with the world's largest dive store. Huge range of equipment, always growing, always changing. They are the world's largest dive store. They are available just about everywhere. They have hassle-free returns, massive range of equipment, price match guarantee, and you can check them out online. You can even use the code NoobSpirit to save $20 on every purchase over 200 at adreno.com.au. Check them out. Boom. G'day, guys, and welcome to the Noob Spirit podcast. We're joined by Bombora Spearguns nut, Stephen Montgomery, Monty, Stevo, Stevie. I'm going to butcher them all, mate. How are you going?
No, good, mate. Good.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me on.
No worries. You come highly recommended. Josh says, local spearer and timber wizard Stephen Montgomery has just launched his website for Bombora Spearguns, and the quality of these guns are next level. He also has a wealth of knowledge on local blue water diving and chasing big kings. Would be awesome to get him on the podcast. Now, Josh is the president of the Central Coast Sea Lions. The Central Coast boys have been patron listeners of the Noob Spirit podcast for ages. So if they talk, I listen. And so it's a pleasure to have you on the show, Stephen.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, and very kind words from Josh, the legend.
Yeah. How old are you?
31.
And you're a carpenter by trade?
Yep.
Okay. And spear guns, you were telling me earlier on a phone call, was sort of like the boys twisted your arm, told you got to start building them.
Yeah, sort of like that. I've been building guns for 6 or 7 years now, and then I started building them for the boys, and then they liked them, and they kind of, pretty much twisted my arm and said you should start selling them.
Nice. And Bombora, what's the brand? Where does the brand name come from?
Well, Bombora is the original name for a bommy.
Righto.
The underwater bommies. So, suited, sound good, went with it.
Yeah. Do we borrow our shortened bommy slang from the word Bombora?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Very interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, cool.
That's good.
I think I peripherally did know that, but it's just like, it actually makes sense now. You know, like,
yeah.
Very cool. So you love looking for big bommies, eh? And smashing big kings. Yeah.
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 That's
nice. All right, cool. And you make handcrafted teak spear guns. Why teak?
It's a really good timber for marine use. Been used in boat building a long time, and especially old growth teak. It's very stable, water resistant, and just a solid, easy to work with timber.
Yeah, nice. Have you mucked around with anything else?
I used Tassie oak for a long time while I was building guns for myself, just prototyping.
Yep.
And that's quite a good timber if anyone's looking to get into it. That's cheap and easy to use. And if you stuff it up, then it doesn't really matter instead of going to a very expensive old growth.
And are you using layers of timber to make your barrels, or are you using a single piece?
Nah, so they're all laminated.
Yep. So how many pieces of laminate are in a barrel?
Well, you want a minimum of 3.
Okay.
And then for any big guns, you want 5. So the more laminations, the better it's going to be, because when you laminate them, you oppose all the bows. And so when it's in the clamps, all the bows are fighting each other when the epoxy sets.
Okay. Interesting.
Mm.
So all of your spear guns, do they use the same number of laminates, or are you doing what you've sort of said in like your bigger blue water guns are using more layers than your reef guns?
Yeah, I'm using different layers for different sizes. Otherwise, because if you cut real small, thin layers and laminate a lot into a small gun, it's a lot of work and a lot of wastage for not much gain.
Yeah, righto. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so where are you sourcing your timber, if you don't mind me asking? If that's trade secret.
From a Sydney supplier.
Okay.
And they import it from Myanmar.
Okay, cool. Yeah, right. And they've got a lot of old growth teak over there, do they?
Yeah. Yeah, so that's where the old growth plantations come from.
Okay, cool.
And then, well, sorry, not plantations, but you've got plantation teak from Mexico and Costa Rica and Indonesia, which isn't as high as grade as old growth Burmese teak.
Okay. And how did you start learning about all of these things? Is that obviously like carpentry background? You've probably had some sources, but where would you do your read ups on that? Is there like, where's the handiest place to learn about this kind of thing with timber, with timber spear guns in particular?
A lot of reading, research, being on old spear fishing forums like Spearboard. There's a lot of old information that's really handy. If you sift through all the information, you can get through it all and you can kind of work out what's good and what's not.
Mm. Have you had any good arguments and blow-ups with old school timber spear gun builders?
No, I don't post anything. I just read.
Oh, you're one of those guys. You've got more wisdom than most of us.
I don't know about that.
Mate, I've watched a couple of guys go at it like hammer and tongs. I'm just like, man, like, potato. Like some. It's nice to read sometimes the debates. I think it can give you a level of anxiety if you're actually part of them.
Oh yeah, definitely. it's not really necessary.
Nah. But like, some guys can be very knowledgeable, but their like level of social intelligence can be like very minimal.
Yeah. And it's also hard to interpret what someone's saying through a forum post.
Definitely.
Like not the cadence, but you know what I mean. Like
I know, natural speech versus like
it.
written speech, and it lacks emotion, all the other parts that are good in communication for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's that behind you on the wall?
This here.
Yeah.
It's a whale rib.
Yeah, right.
Found early in the year. So
sick.
Yeah.
Just from a big humpback?
Yeah, think? I think so. I'm not quite sure.
Off the Central Coast there?
Nah, up at mid-north coast.
Okay.
Yeah.
Coughs.
Yeah, Southwest Rocks.
Oh, yep, right. Yep. Interesting. What, were you on a reef or?
Just diving a little reef that we know, and I noticed it on the sand.
Crazy.
I thought it was a PVC pipe, and I dived down and I realised what it was, and I was like, oh.
Sick. That's coming home.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, man, that'd be cool. Like a jeweler would be like so probably pumped to get hold of a bone like that. You could make so much cool stuff out of it, but it makes cool viewing just as a single piece. Like it's such a big bone, eh?
Oh yeah, it weighs probably 6 or 7 kilos.
Yeah, nice.
And it's got all shark teeth marks through it, and yeah, it's all gnawed. So
sick.
Yeah, it's sick.
Yeah, that's a cool piece. Good conversation piece too, man. Well done putting it in the background.
That's good.
Let's get into like just more broadly, like some guys that are listening to the podcast are brand new. Some of them are like, have been spearing as old as the hills are, But for everyone, in your mind, what are the benefits between like carbon timber and wood? Carbon timber and pipe guns, like your aluminium guns.
Oh well, that's a can of worms. That one.
Yeah, you're going to get into some shit fights here. People are going to be hating on you in the comments, Steve.
Probably.
Yeah.
There's pros and cons for all of them. So like with the aluminium, you've got durability. It's pretty hard to break an aluminium gun. Like there's some guns that have been lasting 25 years.
Yeah.
And you won't break them. And then you also got the carbon. It's lightweight, super strong, good to travel with. And you can have short, powerful guns that don't weigh a lot. And then on the other side, you've got the Burmese teak, heavy timber, used for massive blue water guns that have a lot of recoil. So every gun's got its own pros and cons. You just need to find out what works for you, really.
So timber soaks up recoil, but wouldn't track as well through the water, I'd imagine. Are you using like cuttlefish type shaped barrels on yours? What's your opinion on this?
Yeah, so cuttlefish style, and the timber guns are most of them from most builders are neutrally ballasted.
Yep.
So they sit level in the water. That they just have a lot of mass
Yeah.
to observe,
Absorb
take in
recoil.
recoil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but the shaft is what tends to make them not neutrally ballasted. Is that correct?
It depends on the shaft thickness and band setup
Yep.
to allow for whether a gun's ballasted neutrally or negative buoyant or positively buoyant. So if it's like a very narrow timber gun is going to be negatively buoyant with a 9mm shaft in it and 2 bands, just because the amount of weight in the shaft. Whereas if you've got a 5 laminate, 80mm wide timber gun, it's going to be positively buoyant with a 9mm shaft and 5 bands.
You read
just because the amount of timber.
Cool. Yeah, right. Did you read much into Archimedes, or is this like, are you sort of more of a garage? Like, do you come at these physics principles from the garage, or have you done more formal learning?
From the garage and just trial and error. I've built a lot of guns and tested a lot, so I kind of have an idea in my head of what works and what doesn't work.
Okay. Righto. Okay, cool. Well, I was saving this question, but I guess I'd love to ask it from the start. Like, when you started building spear guns, did you have some ideas and some assumptions that you've changed over the time that you've been building?
Oh, most definitely. Yeah.
Can you give me some glaring examples, ones that you're almost embarrassed to talk about now?
Oh, I'm not, off the top of my head, I'm not quite sure, to be honest. I think the main thing is when your shaft overhangs, a big one thing, for accuracy. A lot of old school guys run a lot of overhang, and it makes the guns more
Muzzle
accurate in your own eye.
Yes.
But there's a massive lack of performance. So I've noticed that with old school style guns versus the new school with short overhangs. They're harder to aim with the short overhangs, but there's a heap more performance there.
Just, you touched on it. Why is it easier to aim with a shaft that overhangs the barrel by a longer distance?
I'm not quite sure, to be honest. It just kind of is.
I think it's the triangulation effect, because I don't think most people that use a spear gun are marksmen. A lot of us aren't sighting down a barrel. We're drawing in points of data from the projected trajectory of the shaft. So the longer the shaft is, the more information our eye gets. And then we're perceiving the track of the fish. And then there's like a lot of triangulation and symmetry going on in our brains to project where we want to point the gun and pull the trigger. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Like a lot of fish I shoot, I'm looking at the fish and not looking down the gun.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. So guys with a shorter overhang, I think the common idea is that you have your brain or your eye is getting less information to give to your brain, so it can't be as accurate. So you're almost forced to, return to first principles. Like you've got to relearn how that spear gun shoots.
Yeah. What I have noticed is with the long overhangs is that you're more lobbing a spear, whereas with the short overhangs, the spear is shooting a lot flatter.
Yeah.
And so what happens is if you go from, say, a 400mm overhang to 200mm overhang, the spear's just shooting flatter, but it looks like it's shooting high.
Yes. Okay, I see what you're saying. I was going to ask you for a practical example of that, and I think that's a good one. So, like, I'm an old school guy. I know one guy, Tim Nielsen from Adreno. I'm sorry to dob you in, Tim. He likes a 500mm overhang on all his spear guns. So if he picks up his 900 Rob Allen or his 1400 Rob Allen, every time he's got a 500mm overhang on it. Consistent formula, consistent barrel. It makes sense in a lot of ways. But what you're saying is if he switched back to, say, a 200mm overhang, he would feel like the gun was now shooting high.
Yep, exactly.
Okay. And part of that would also be the fact that with that extra 300mm of overhang, right, on his 500mm overhang example, it would make him slightly muzzle heavy too, wouldn't it? So,
most definitely.
So, and that'd be hard to, like, everything then would be compensation for recoil as well with a pipe gun too, wouldn't it? So, if a fish wasn't the exact distance from the end of your gun every time and you're compensating for recoil intuitively, there's all sorts of accuracy issues that are going to happen then, isn't there?
Yeah.
Have you thought a bit about that stuff?
A little bit. It's hard because you're trying to compare like a pipe gun to a timber gun, which is two very different things. So, like my sort of area of expertise is timber.
Okay.
And then out of pipe guns.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So you're saying characteristics, but they just behave differently. Is it? It's partly because timber absorbs recoil so effectively.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it.
And a pipe gun doesn't. So we're talking apples and oranges here.
It can. Yeah, but at the end of the day, the best gun you can buy is the one that works for you.
Yeah. The problem with that is like what I see, and even from my own experience, is we get married to a recipe. And the recipe can actually be pretty shit. Like it's not even a good, solid, stable platform, but it's just what you got used to. And then, do you know what I mean? You've almost pre-programmed yourself. Oh yeah, this is my spear gun. This is it. It works well. And then the only reason it does is because you've just forced yourself to adapt to it. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't necessarily mean the gun's accurate.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I see a lot of guys go into a spear gun shop and there's not a lot of timber spear gun options on the wall. And so they naturally buy a pipe gun because that's what John uses down the road. And he thinks that spear gun's the best when it may not actually be that. It's just $200 cheaper than the timber alternative. And so then you get these guys that are locked into this one modality of spear guns and then they never change. I'd imagine that'd be a problem as a timber spear gun manufacturer.
Not really. I think the guys who are the pipe guns are great for beginners who gives them an open into spearfishing. Whereas if you're trying to go into the high end custom timber style, it's too complicated for someone at the start.
Yeah.
Getting into it.
Okay. So if you were picking your target customers, that it's not a lot of noobs. It's people that have been, it's not guys in their first 1-2 years of spearing. It's more guys further along in their journey?
Ideally, yeah, because it's a lot of money outlay as well. If you're in your first year and you're diving and like you could not like it, but you don't want to drop $1,200 on a spear gun and then have to sell it in a year. Like you're better off going a cheaper pipe gun, get used to diving, and then once you enjoy it, you're like, yep, I want to get better. So then you can start looking at the higher end versions of the guns.
Yeah, I've got a big, beautiful timber spear gun from Europe, and it does shoot well and behave well. It's got a molded hand grip, and it costs that $1,200 sort of marker a bit more. I don't even use it most of the time. I'm just using my double or my single roller, like dirty big pipe gun, carbon barrel. But one thing I have problems with is just if the spear gun costs $1,500 and it weighs 3-4 kilo, do I want to travel with that to Cairns to go spearfishing versus my roller that weighs, 1 kilo? That's probably the biggest thing for me. And then because I'm using this one gun out of habit all the time, it's the one that I naturally take everywhere with me. So I guess, yeah. What do your spear guns weigh? Like,
what's that? Sorry.
What do your spear guns weigh? I know that it'll be different based on different models, but on average.
On average, about 2 kilos.
Okay. Yeah. And your blue water ones, how much more mass is involved in a blue water gun?
Probably 50% more.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it depends how big you're going as well. Like the real big guns are like 3.5 kilos.
What's the biggest gun you built?
5 bands.
5 bands. How long barrel?
1400 mil band stretch.
1400 mil band stretch. So,
40.
So from muzzle to the rear of the mech.
Yeah. So from band slot to
the rear
shaft tab.
Yeah, righto. Why do we measure spear guns differently? And can you explain the differences that you understand?
Ideally, a spear gun should be measured from a band stretch, so from fin to band slot.
Okay. Who else does it like that? And the Americans do it different, don't they?
No, I know Rife does band stretch.
Okay.
Oh, actually, I'm not sure.
Okay.
Might have to delete that.
That's all good, man. Rife have got a very well-earned name. They've done so much in spearing, and obviously, like, that's probably the most commonly used timber spear gun in the Southern Hemisphere, despite being a North American platform.
Yeah.
But we're seeing so many more guys like you now making bespoke timber guns, so it's great. Talking about manufacturers and builders and setups, everyone wants to get a spear gun and re-rig it according to their own configuration and their own bro science. What are the do's and don'ts of so, like, let's just say I buy a Steve-O Monty spear gun, like a Bombora Beauty, and it comes with, I'm guessing, two 14s. You're running 14 mil rubber most of the time, or
14.5 mil micro balls mainly.
Okay,
Or
yep.
16 mil conventional.
Okay, cool. All right, so it comes rigged with two 14.5 mil bands. It's a 1200 with I'm guessing a 1350, 1400 long shaft in it.
It depends what length.
Okay, but you would have a recommended shaft size, diameter, and length for that particular barrel, and then you would have a recommendation with regards to bands and band length, I'm guessing.
Yep.
What are the do's and don'ts with changing that configuration in your mind?
Ideally, I'd stick to the recommendation because I've done all the testing behind why that setup works. So if you want to go change it, then the gun doesn't work, or if it's the ballast is wrong, or if it's inaccurate, then you have that problem there. But in saying that, if a certain setup works for you and that's what you've used, then it's pretty hard for me to say, oh, don't do that, because
it works for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I guess there's no real ratings issues in terms of the load we place on the mechs these days anymore either. Most of the guys are using heavy-duty quality mechs, because all of the low-quality ones just seem to have slipped out of distribution from most gun makers, I'd imagine.
Oh, they definitely got filtered out pretty quickly.
Yeah.
It's a definite health hazard as well.
Yeah. Friction-based mechs too, though, they do fail for a variety of reasons. I wanted to chat with you about, I noticed you had a spear gun cleaning instructions thing on your website, which is great for people because some people just have no idea how to look after a gun. You're not shy of spraying a bit of WD in your mechs, though, is that right?
Yeah, there is. I have read some things about that.
Yep.
People say don't spray WD-40 or put any lubricants inside mechanisms. I've never had one fail, but I can't say it can or it will or it won't. It's just...
You're thinking about removing calcification or any other issues inside that you can't see that fresh water sometimes misses, I'm imagining?
Yeah, just a little bit of surface rust or something like that. Bit of salt that might just get stuck in there, especially with these like Hermes double roll mechs.
Yep.
Like, you don't want them to have a failure, so a little bit of WD-40 would...
Okay. All right, cool. Sorry to ask you all the controversial questions, man.
That's all right.
Shooting line preference. What do your guns come pre-rigged with these days?
Mono right now.
And what do you use?
Some guys use Dyneema. I've had troubles with it in the past, getting muzzle wrap, so I haven't really gone back to it. But I can re-rig them with anything you want. It's just personal preference, really, but I stick to mono for now.
Yeah. And you have muzzle wraps on conventional and roller guns, or? Go to noobspearo.com/spear-ready and take part in a 50-day preparation program to get you into shape to make the most of a trip of a lifetime. If you are 2 months out from that trip of a lifetime, let me encourage you, get spear ready. Go to noobspearo.com/spear ready. Get Aqualite at aqualite.com.au. It's scientific rehydration that Spearos know and trust. I know because one works there, and that's why we've set up this discount code for you, 10% off when you use the code noobspearo at aqualite.com.au. Check it out. Australian-made hydration products tailored for Spearos and a whole bunch of other people that suffer from dehydration too. But check it out at aqualite.com.au. Use the code noobspearo to save 10%. Noob Spearo's partner, Killshot Spearguns, bring more to you than just wicked reliable timber spear guns. They also make awesome merch. Check it out at killshotspearguns.com. There's an awesome range of trucker hats, beanies, bucket hats, and more at killshotspearguns.com. Check out Depth Charge Charters while you're there. Based in the Isla Morada, the Florida Keys, the Killshot Spearguns team are a wicked, passionate bunch. Proud partners of the Noob Spearo podcast. Check them out at killshotspearguns.com.
I mainly use conventional guns, so I've had muzzle wraps with Dyneema before on conventional guns, and after that, kind of just stuck to mono.
Is that a line path issue, or is it the configuration of the muzzle? Okay.
Yeah, I think it's the way the Dyneema line sits on your bands. I know Coachman did a video about it a while ago.
Yeah.
I watched briefly, but like I was saying before, I'm stuck in my ways.
Yeah, I did too for a long, long time. And then just crimping new shooting line when you're out at sea's a pain in the ass. And who brings crimping pliers with them? Like, you take them out for a year and they're just rusted. You might as well throw them over the side of the boat if you're a pollution-minded person, which we're not. But so like just the ease of being able to tie a bow line with Dyneema, it's just, I don't know, it's easy, and you do get used to it.
It definitely has its pros and cons. Like the abrasion resistance in Dyneema and strength is phenomenal.
Yeah,
it's just the muzzle wrap.
Yeah,
is I had it a couple of times and I just couldn't get past it. So
yeah, this is a once bitten twice shy kind of thing, isn't it? It's like,
yeah,
if you're used to spearing a certain way and it works, and then you change something in your recipe and it doesn't work, you're just like, I'm just going back to the way it was before.
Yeah, exactly. Plus, if you're stepping up to Dyneema, personally for me, I'd just go straight to cable.
Yeah, righto.
And shoot cable on big blue water guns.
Cable has the issue, I guess, of tearing through soft flesh fish. Like, you guys get wahoo down there times of the year.
Yep.
How does cable go on kingies?
Not too bad.
Yeah.
It sort of acts like a big slip tip if you string a fish, so not too bad. It's no different than cable slip tip.
Yeah. Yeah, righto. Interesting. All right, cool. Mechs. What mechs are you using in your gun? What have you experimented with, and what have you learned?
Currently using the Hermes double roll mechs, which probably are the best mechs you can get nowadays. They have such a crisp trigger break, and they can hold like 450 kilos.
Wow.
Of force, which is insane.
Yeah. Like, so a single band is like,
good.
You can max a band out with somewhere maybe 60 or 80 kilos, can't you? Like,
yep.
if you've got a cranked up like 18 or 20 mil band and you're a mongrel of a man.
Oh, yeah. That's crazy.
So 450.
They're mainly for the smaller guns, and then for the big guns, the Neptonics tuna mechs.
Yeah.
They're pretty hard to beat.
With the friction-based mechanism, guys complain about trigger pressure, like being inconsistent, things like that. Have you had much thought about that? Like a lot of firearms guys, the flinch is pretty famous. Underwater, we kind of have our own version of it, I guess. But I guess you can't really change that point when the spear gun's going to go off. There's no way to sort of fine tune it.
Yeah, I think the Hermes have it pretty much dialed on getting that crisp break. It feels like a real firearm.
Okay.
The way it breaks. Whereas I've noticed on the Neptonics Euromechs, they have a lot of travel and then they break right at the end.
Yeah,
right. Friction.
And by then, like, if you've got if your finger's too far buried in it, you can actually pull your shot, like your wrist sort of gets pulled around in the direction your finger's pulling in on the trigger on.
Yeah, it can sometimes.
Yeah. So the Hermes double roller mech, and then your Neptonics blue water for your bigger spear guns. Have you had many issues with that? Is that a part of the spear gun where people have had issues?
Oh no, not at all.
Yeah.
Those mechs are bulletproof.
And is there a safety on those two?
No safety.
All right, cool. So you don't have safeties on your spear guns at all?
No.
Oh, I can see why people are buying them already.
You don't shoot a lot of fish when you forget the safeties on.
Tell me a horror story about losing a fish with a safety.
I don't run safety, so I can't.
You never run them at all?
Nah.
Wow.
And then on the old school Rob Allens that I used to have, you super glue the safety off.
Yeah.
So you can't put it on. Otherwise, that's how you get sabotaged by your mates.
Yeah. So you came from the world of Rob Allens and went timber?
Yep.
Okay. How long have you been spearing?
16 years now.
Oh, wow. Always sort of Central Coast area?
Yeah, mainly that's where I started, and then started branching out, going north, going south, trying to find blue water, and yeah, just adventuring really.
Yeah. So in your average year these days, how often are you getting away for longer trips?
Preferably like once every 2 or 3 months, but sometimes it gets bad with work, and you get stuck in bad weather and it just doesn't line up. So at least a couple of times a year.
What's one of your favorite trips without spot burning the place? You can give me the general area if you want and the modality of travel.
Just the mid-north coast, really.
Yeah, righto.
Easy to drive up, and it takes a few hours. You can go up there, heaps of pelagics, easy to dive, and know all the spots.
Yeah.
And like Coffs Coast and all that.
So, okay, so you come from the world of Rob Allen and you went timber, you went dark side. What motivated that? What motivated that change?
I started getting more into blue water and bigger guns, and then being the creative side, being a carpenter, I'm just hands-on, and I want to start building my own guns and start shooting fish with my own guns. And that's why I went down the giant rabbit hole of building guns, really.
Nice. Did you name
it wasn't a lack of performance or anything like that. I just wanted to get into it, something I was interested in.
Yeah. I mean, for some people, they might think, oh, you're in a Toyota Land Cruiser and now you want to go and get one of those big Dodge Rams or something. Crude comparison, but maybe fair. I'm not sure. What do you think?
Oh, nah.
Nah, it's not, because you're building it yourself. So there's an infinite sense of pleasure in that. Did you name the first spear gun you created? And if you didn't, what would you call it now?
I'd call it Dodgy Bro Spear Guns.
What were some of the mistakes you made?
A lot. Yeah. Poor lamination. I was using all hand tools.
Yep.
So I was cutting tracks with like a little handheld router, and diabolical.
Yeah, right. So the track it just wasn't, centimetre by centimetre perfectly straight?
Yeah, it wasn't up to scratch.
Yeah, right. What mech did you use in it?
Oh, I can't quite remember.
Did you shoot anything with it?
I honestly can't remember. It's so long ago. It's like 6 or 7 years.
Yeah, right.
I can't remember.
Too many long days on the tools. You've fried your short term. That's terrible. Yeah. I feel sorry for you, Monty.
Alzheimer's kicking in.
Yeah, we were all guilty of some sort of degeneration. If it happens to be in your brain, it's inevitable. I think. It's good living, I think, on the east coast of Australia. That's part of it. Like, we're always out in the sun.
That's it. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, it's a good life, man. Shafts. Who makes great ones? And what are your preferences, I guess?
Who makes great ones? That's a bit of a loaded question. Probably going to get shoddy.
Nah, it's your opinion.
There's a lot of great manufacturers. Am I going to drop names here, or?
Oh, it's up to you. Like, I'll give you a story if you want, and then that might tempt you to the dark side. I recently bought a European shaft. It was a pencil tip, single flopper, stainless, beautiful work of art shaft. Cost me $140 something. I took it out on the second time I used it. I happened to shoot a cod for my mate in the boat who wanted one. And a Queensland groper grabbed it, took me for a jet ski, a water ski, and I got the shaft back. It was bent. Now, I can't afford $140 to throw every time I go out spearfishing. So my chances of buying that shaft again are between 0 and none.
Yep.
I'll go back to my Rob Allen 7.5 mil. Sure, it's not, like Ferrari style, but they punch through. Beautiful, tough tri-cut. I can resharpen them if I need to. The floppers are easy to tune. The corrosion is limited. and they just continue to do the same job shot after shot. Quite hard to bend them, and if you do, they're done. But like that's kind of it. But you're talking under $100 a throw versus over 140 for some of these flasher European type ones. Obviously stainless and spring steel are very different, and there's different types of each of those as well. But yeah, like if you want to, what are some of the brands that you like and think are doing a good job?
Hunt Technology out of Italy. M85, I've just started ordering shafts through them for my guns, and Sean's doing a real good job of those. You got Addiction Spears with Dean Couturis.
Okay.
That's just a few to name. A lot of them are US and overseas brand.
Yeah.
We don't have many spear manufacturers in Australia.
Yeah. Is that a steel issue or is it just a know-how manufacturing issue?
I'm not quite sure. I think it might just be a manufacturing issue.
Yeah,
and
right.
It could be a steel issue.
We've lost so much capacity, like it being a smaller country. But given the prices of shipping and moving, big weights, like you'd imagine it could be a business worth pursuing here.
Yeah, it could be. You'd have to look into it and do a cost analysis of material versus making versus how many shafts you're selling a year.
Yeah. So you're running stainless?
Yep.
Yeah.
Heat treated stainless.
Okay. And finned, notched?
I personally like fin spears. I don't like notch spears.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you're not running a lot of roller muzzles yet, are you?
I've started getting into the roller gun style, making a few prototypes for the boys that they're in testing now.
Yeah.
So getting that sorted. I found pros and cons with them.
Yep.
They're good. I've noticed some things you need to make sure you do correctly so you don't have failures at all with the roller guns.
Have you seen the Load Easy guy?
No, I haven't.
There's an Aussie guy up north. His daughter had broken an arm or was otherwise, unable to really load a conventional spear gun. So he's pretty much invented a ratchet style thing for a spear gun so you basically, with a conventional roller gun, you load the rubber on your shaft and then you crank the pretension on with the ratchet.
Yeah, right.
And I've got a YouTube video up. I'll link it up in today's show notes. So if guys go to noobspearo.com/Bombora, BOMBORA, I'll link up this little video. But the reason I was asking is I think there's some opportunities in the market there to create some spear guns that anyone can load, whether they are not very strong, whether they only have one arm, whether they have, issues with their wrist or for whatever reason they can't load a typical spear gun. That's why I thought I'd ask. Do you have a loading tab on the shafts that you use?
No.
Okay.
I haven't really needed a useful one.
Yeah.
So
because you're doing
maybe. Oh, sorry.
No, I was going to say you're doing a lot of one-off work for experienced Spearos, so they kind of know what they want. They're coming to you for a reason.
Yes. Plus, I can also order custom shafts that they need to length or like that.
Yep. Yeah.
So if they come to me and say they want a 5-band tuner gun and they want a load tab then at a certain distance, then I can just get that ordered.
Yeah, righto.
Instead of having a set style that everyone has to use.
And how much stock are you ordering in to make it economically viable in terms of, because sometimes you got to put volume through to make shipping prices come down and get a decent rate, wholesale rate from these shaft vendors.
Yep. Yeah, so I try and bulk it together. I'll get a couple of mates or a couple of shaft orders and I can put through like a 20 or 30 shaft order and bring them in.
Yeah, righto.
So it takes a bit less, makes it a bit painful.
Yeah, I'd imagine. Yeah. There's a lot of cost outlay in running any sort of business, eh? Like, and you're not going to see a return on shaft stock for, quite a long time.
Well, the return on the amount of money I've spent on tools.
Yeah.
Go back these guns.
It'll pay for itself in 35 years, man, when your son takes over.
Yeah, something like that. Fuck,
yeah. Tri-cut versus pencil point.
Tri-cut's really good for blue water penetration. Pencil point, hunting around the reef. easy
Yeah.
to resharp, and if you shoot into a rock, you can just fire back up instead of trying to reshape a tri-cut.
Yeah. Or a mushroom
Yeah.
tri-cut. Yeah. Going through like a tusky, those big, beautiful scales, or a big, thick blue bar parrotfish, how do you find a pencil on that?
I can't tell you because the only tuskies I've shot with tri-cuts.
Yeah, me too.
So,
That's why I asked the question. I haven't shot one either. I'd say like sometimes with parrotfish, you get that fleeting shot when they're sort of taken off because, like you've managed to somehow get a sneak up on them, like one coming out of a hole or something. But quite often by the time you get that shot, it might be sort of at the end of your range. I just wonder what one of those pencil tips would be like given at the back end of the range, on a larger scaled fish.
yeah, I'd be curious to see how it performs, especially in like big mulloway head,
Yeah.
like trying to crunch through bone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not much likes
interesting to
going
see
through the head
difference.
of a fish, and a lot of us like shooting fish in the head. Like
Yeah. Well, trying to shoot cobia top down through the skull is pretty impossible with any shaft, really.
Yeah. I haven't actually done that. Yeah, that's a good one.
Don't shoot him behind the head.
Yeah. I had a mate last year, and this just stays between you and me and a couple of people listening.
2,000 other people.
Yeah. I won't name him, but it was Bert from Old Man Blue, and we were out off this reef, and we anchored the boat up, and I swam forward to check the anchor line, but the current was feral, like it was just like it was barely swim againstable sort of thing, and we're in, I don't know, 12, 14 meters. So, but beautiful viz, everything was good. I swam up to check the thing, and the other boys were still mucking around. So I was like, all right, I'll just check the anchor. Swam up to get it. And then the next thing I know, like I'm sussing out this fish just about to do a good drop on it. Because you know how you have to have a really good breathe up to do a decent drop in current?
Yeah.
I'm doing one of those ones. And the next thing I know, the boat comes screaming up on me and he's, get in, Bert's in trouble. Anyway, I can hear Bert screaming, and we finally get over to him. And I don't know what's going on, but he's like, where were you fuckers? Like he's panicking, I can see he's not in good shape. Anyway, gets the gun over and there's just Dyneema everywhere. And he says, just take it, pull it in. And I start pulling it in, and I'm telling him, what is it? And then he says, I fucked up, and pulling this thing along. And then I realized, like, because it was lit up, and he's tried to shoot a cobia and he's just shot this poor shark. The shark swam right between him and the cobia at the last moment. And it's a big, like, whaler, like good 2 meters. And probably, I don't know, maybe 60 kilo a shark, something like that. Like maybe a bit bigger. I don't want to exaggerate. Maybe it wasn't quite 2 meters, but, that sort of size. And anyway, finally got this thing up on the boat after a lot of struggle. And we were all laughing, but yeah, jeepers, those things happen, eh?
Oh, yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, it was wild.
I saw a mate shoot a ray by accident trying to shoot a cove.
Oh, yeah.
Big bull rays, spooled his reel, and that was it.
Yeah.
And then one of my mates actually found his shaft like a week later.
Oh, I don't know if that's good or bad, because like probably the ray got eaten, and
it was like a 2 meter bull ray.
Yeah, right. Well, not much eats them, eh?
Shaft through it's like just a little edge of its fin.
Oh, it would have grown out then, you reckon? Or just shaken?
Oh, the shaft just fell out.
Off. Yeah, righto. Well, I know a while ago there's a big green zone off Brizzy, and someone must have tried to shoot a cobia off a manta, and they've missed it and shot the manta, and it's swimming around with a spear shaft in it. And you've got, hundreds of scuba divers in there every year at this location filming this manta with a spear shaft through it. Now, that is a picture that Spearos do not need on social media.
Oh, definitely.
Not only that, like, you'd feel pretty shit shooting a manta ray where they've got that kind of that aura about them, like they're just majestic. A bull ray, I'm like, bull ray, or a shark, I'm like, shoot another one. Like, but a manta ray, I'm like, no, you can't do that.
Yeah, no, that's not great.
But anyway, Stevie, I'm throwing out some big stirrers in this conversation, so we'll get some blowback, but it's all good. Rubber choice with your spear guns. What do you like these days? You did mention the 14.5 mil micro bore. It's called like L something D as well, isn't it? Lower diameter or something. There's another way they abbreviate it.
I'm not quite sure how they abbreviate it, but yeah, I used to use 16 mil conventional.
Yep.
And then I went to just because I'm trialing everything, as I've been building guns over the years, and I went to 14.5 mil micro bores and kind of fell in love with them. It's slightly less power, but they're so much more efficient that I prefer them over conventional 16s.
Okay. And brands?
Pretty hard to beat Primeline.
Yep.
Yeah, they're the like benchmark pretty much.
Yeah.
And Sigil Sub.
Okay.
I'm not sure if they get built by Primeline and order them over to Italy or if they're their own manufacturing.
Yeah.
But the Sigil Sub bands are really good.
When you start to play around with gear, you start to learn about the funky origins of some of the stuff that you're buying. It's actually all out of the same factory or been relabeled and things like that. Very interesting.
Yep.
Have you thought or heard much about the different parabolic curves between rubbers? Like, I know when I've had Emmanuel Bova on from Manny Sub down in Sydney, he fancies quite a distinction between what he titles reactive versus progressive types of rubber. So like, and his definition would be like, you know, Rob Allen's pretty punchy, straight off the mark sort of rubber. You would say that's a classic sort of reactive style band. And then, you know, the bands he likes to use for his rollers are more of a progressive. So it's a smoother, more steady, force curve rather than the more explosive. How do you think about this? Is it something you think about?
A little bit. I've only really started getting into the roller side last couple of months. Haven't really looked too much into it, but what I've read and what I've the info I've found on it is that the roller gun should be using a reactive rubber versus a progressive because the roller guns struggle with inertia.
Yeah,
right.
Right.
Initial stage of the trying to get the shaft acceleration.
Yeah, righto.
So that's what I've read, but I can't say that's true or not. So I'll have to do my own testing and find out.
So you set up in a swimming pool to test stuff, or
if I can get access to one. If not, I'll just do it out in the ocean.
Yeah.
Bit more realistic conditions as well.
Yeah, just hard to get controls in place, you know, like bit of surge, bit of wave movement, like, you know, it's all sort of different, but I hear what you're saying. It's like more real world type testing versus controlled environment. That's the thing with testing these things, I guess. I just sort of know to ask some of these questions. I haven't done a lot of research myself. Again, I'd probably reference a lot of Rob Allen, Chris Coates types testing videos. There's another guy on YouTube, Mags or Magic. He did a lot of pull testing with a lot of information in there. There's a lot of bro science out there.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. Yep.
And a lot of armchair physics.
Yep.
You know, like they just, it's not quite there. And you can sort of scratch the surface and you can see, you haven't equated for these variables and you haven't really thought too much about all of these other different factors and how they all plan together. And I guess that's what I respected probably about Rob Allen and Chris is they're fairly garage sort of guys. But infinitely practical.
Oh, yeah, like Chris has got it dialed with his roller guns.
Yeah.
Like what he's doing now with those roller guns is like he's hit the pinnacle of performance with roller guns, I reckon.
Yeah.
And like then you got the other guys like Alamani, who's been around for donkey's years and he's demultiplied inverted rollers and double rollers and he's got those dialed and it's what's the word? It's interesting to see the differences.
Yeah.
In the styles of guns versus what can work and what doesn't work, and really good.
I forgot what I was going to ask you. Like, I had a good question there. It was preloaded. I was too busy listening to you, Stephen.
I'm
think
just rambling.
no, it's good. I like it. Have you got any funny examples from conversations that you've seen gone off the rails with some of these forums? Noob Spearo's partner, Killshot Spearguns, bring more to you than just wicked reliable timber spear guns. They also make awesome merch. Check it out at killshotspearguns.com. There's an awesome range of trucker hats, beanies, bucket hats, and more at killshotspearguns.com. Check out Depth Charge Shelters while you're there. Based in the Isla Morada, the Florida Keys, the Killshot Spearguns team are a wicked, passionate bunch. Proud partners of the Noob Spearo podcast. Check them out at killshotspearguns.com. Massive thanks to today's sponsor, Dog and Gun Coffee. It's bloody good coffee, ready for adventure. Their owners, Sean and Rach, are keen hunters in and out of the water and want to encourage more people to get outdoors. That's pretty much the vision of Dog and Gun Coffee. Check it out at dogandguncoffee.com.au. Use the code NOOB10 to save 10%. Can't get better than that. Go to dogandguncoffee.com.au. Again, hey, I like the Sandbar Dark Roast as well. Check that out at Dog and Gun Coffee. Arriving on day one of the spearfishing trip of a lifetime and feeling underdone, unfit, and out of breath is incredibly underwhelming. Well, I've got a great solution for you today. Go to noobspearo.com/spear-ready and take part in a 50-day preparation program to get you into shape to make the most of a trip of a lifetime. Check it out at noobspearo.com/spear-ready. There are always frothers training and trying to prepare and get in shape. It's a great way to stay motivated and do it together with our private Facebook group. Check it out again, noobspearo.com/spear-ready.
Oh, yeah, but I probably don't want to really get into it.
Oh, just give it to me broadly. Like, that'll be funny enough.
Oh, I haven't really read enough, like, of late, to give you a good example. But normally someone asks a question and then there's 47 opinions on what works well, and then all of a sudden it just goes in this giant argument rabbit hole of what's better and what's not better, and then there goes the forum in about 2 questions.
And then the character assassinations come next.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. With your timber guns and you're thinking about roller muzzles, are there ones on the market that you can use as they are, or would you need to come up with a roller muzzle all of your own?
Personally, for my roller guns, they're inbuilt into the timber stock. So I don't buy a kit.
Yeah.
I just build them to suit what I need. So I buy the parts like rollers, bearing rod, the line guides and all that.
Yeah, sorry, and they're normally inbuilt with a timber spear gun too. So those components, are they readily available for DIY gun builders?
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah. A lot of shops sell components for spear gun builders, and you can give it a go if you want.
A lot of guys
quite easy.
Talk about the difference with the bearings, like ceramic versus, the just your sort of your plastic type.
Acetate.
Yeah.
Acetate.
Whatever it is.
I think it's what it is.
Yeah. What have you?
Acetal or something. Acetal bearings.
Yeah. What are your thoughts in performance and?
Oh, definitely ceramic. If you're going to roller, there's a massive performance gain.
Okay.
Just normal bearings.
And someone walking into a shop, even if they're buying a pipe gun or a timber gun that's a roller, how are they going to know what bearings are used? Is there a way to just feel and listen to the roller to understand what it's using? Or
ideally, if you're going to a shop buying a roller gun, you'd have a pretty good idea of what you're trying to buy.
Yeah.
Like you'd have information already at hand before you walk into the shop to knowing what you're going to have a look at. But if you're just walking in there, and you can, since all the guns are loaded, not loaded, but under tension, it'd be quite hard to tell without knowing beforehand of what you're buying.
Yeah.
Unless you're talking to a shop assistant.
Yeah, and if you've got good shop assistants, then they can give you that information. And that is the difference between, a good shop and one that's maybe not quite up with it,
Yeah,
The guys do understand some of the technical specifications of the equipment they're selling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
What are the dumbest things most Spearos, or maybe many Spearos, think about spear guns or believe about spear guns?
What's the dumbest thing? I don't really know.
Yeah. I'm trying to stir you up and get some controversial answers out of you.
I know, you bastard.
Are there any commonly held ideas? Like we talked about shaft overhang before. Are there any other examples like that where Spearos maybe, maybe they overvalue or undervalue certain things about spear guns in terms of rating their performance or their reliability?
Not really. I think some guys get stuck in their ways a bit and won't want to adventure out of their comfort zone.
Yeah.
And it can be detrimental in the long run, or if they've been like that for so long, then it kind of is what it is. Like, I can't really talk you in and out of going, oh, yeah, you should try this, the multiplied double roller thing, or just stick to your 130 conventional Rob Allen. Like, it's up to the own person, really.
I thought once about creating some sort of blog where people could come in and rate a spear gun on its different characteristics. For example, accuracy, durability, ability to absorb recoil, trackability, price. Do you know what I mean? And then they could give it like even a rating, a simplistic rating out of 5. And then the wisdom of the crowd, so to speak, would help the cream rise to the top. But then what I realized is like a lot of people are just so bought in on a brand story, or they were indoctrinated in their first part of spearfishing into one particular brand, that it's very hard for them to get to think without bias. So you'd end up with a heavily skewed set of results anyway. Have you ever thought about anything like that?
Oh, not as a review side, but yeah, I've noticed throughout the years that of just diving that a lot of people, I don't know, fucking lost me train of thought here.
What, they're just opinionated or biased about the gear they use?
Yeah, and they sort of get stuck in their way.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's just each to their own, really.
There's a spear gun. Oh no, I won't stir you up too much. I was going to say there's another spear gun builder I know, but I won't start you. What's one of the highest risk situations you've been in the ocean, and what did you learn from it?
Mainly diving the Coral Sea, the amount of sharks there now.
Yep.
It's an eye-opening experience of the amount of sharks up there and how comfortable you get diving. Yeah, like when I did in 2020, just after COVID, or just before COVID.
Yep. 2020, probably early 2020, it was still reasonably sane for a period there.
Yep, and the amount of sharks we were dealing with up there was phenomenal. We struggled to get fish past them.
Yeah,
like for the entire 10 days we were there.
How did you guys get fish past them?
With a lot of teamwork and a lot of reefing their heads off.
Yeah,
like 2 guys on a brig line, and you just pull the trigger, and then they're just reefing it up through the water column as fast as you can.
Yeah, right. Well,
yeah, that's the only way we got them past.
And then did you have guys diving as soon as triggers went off, or did you team dive like two?
Yep, everything. We were trying everything under the sun, driving the boat around them, create a heap of noise, but we were struggling to get them past.
And black tips?
Black tips, white tips, silver bees, dusky whalers.
Yeah.
Pretty much all the toothy critters. So.
And what, chasing dogtooth or reefies as well?
Both.
Yeah.
Both, and wahoo. Okay. Yeah, mix of blue water and reef. So.
Did you have any like specific situation, like one fish or one moment from one of those trips that really stood out?
Really, kind of all just blended into Sharknado and trying to get fish past it.
Yeah.
So not really one specific thing. It's more just a blend of carnage.
Yeah, right. I reckon I've heard about a few of these trips. It sounds amazing that not more people aren't injured.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
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 Yeah,
Yeah.
we were quite surprised that no one got injured. Like, I got charged multiple times. Mates got charged multiple times in a day.
Yeah.
Like, you're just swimming along and all of a sudden you got 3 silver Vs coming flying off at the bottom at you,
Hectic.
coming vertically straight up. One of my mates, he broke a spear inside the mech when the shark charged him, and a slip tip got embedded, and it was still connected to the gun and snapped the spear in the gun while I was
Hectic.
holding it.
All
So,
right.
Yeah.
You seem like a bit of a joker, Monty. What are your dive buddies like down there? You got some funny blokes you dive with?
Oh, yeah, I got some absolute weapons.
Yeah.
They're all legends, so.
Dob a couple in. Go on.
Oh, you got Pat, Jesse, Nate, Albie Cook, you know him.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They're all weapons, mate.
Yeah.
Josh,
So,
yeah.
how come you guys got so many good blokes in the Central Coast? What is it about that part of the world?
I don't know, we're just good blokes, mate.
Yeah. I honestly went down there. I sat down. I think I had about 8 or 10 of you guys from the club. Sat down for dinner. Just felt like being around mates. It was just so easy.
Oh, yeah, it's good. Such a good club.
Yeah.
Yeah, so easy, junior friendly. We're not super serious competitive divers. It's more of a social club, really.
Are there any girls in the club?
We've had a few over the years, but as of right now, I'm not quite sure.
It's hard, eh? Like, I'm not trying to virtue signal or anything, but I feel sorry for the girls sometimes that want to get into it, and then they show up at a club and it just seems to be all blokes. You need, like, I don't know, like 3 or 4 women, and then they create enough of a kind of a subculture within the club that all of the other women then start coming in. But it's like until you've got a core group of them, it's kind of hard for that to happen.
Yeah, it's very heavily male-dominated sport.
I used to think that. I reckon girls get into it just as much as guys now. Well, maybe not quite as much, but like I reckon there's heaps more. There's just not as, I don't know, there just doesn't seem as much of a community in certain parts of the world for them. But I
think they more get in the freediving side
yeah.
than the actual fish hunting side.
Yeah.
So,
I've met some killer girls though. They do. Some of them get into it. It's crazy.
yeah, weapons.
You're selling most of your spear guns to blokes, though?
Yeah, mainly to mates right now.
And where are you moving most of them? Just East Coast, Sydney?
Yep.
Central Coast?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, as of right now. So a little bit up north, and then hopefully start to expand. We'll wait and see.
Yeah, cool. All right, cool. We'll talk a little bit about spear gun and care and instructions if you can. You're selling these guns that are a bespoke work, bit of art. I'm guessing guys want to look after them for years to come. How do you recommend guys care about spear guns? Because I've seen some, and I'll be honest, I've partaken in a fair amount of neglect over the years.
Oh, so have I. Is this mainly timber or all spear guns?
Well, that's a good question. Start with timber again, or start with all spear guns and then give us some timber specific.
Oh, yeah, that's all right. A good wash down after the end of the day is normally a good way to go about it. Let it dry out. Don't let it dry in the sun. Keep it out of the sun so you don't deteriorate your rubbers and your mono.
Yep.
And then storage is just keep it dry, especially for like just normal rail guns, like aluminium and carbon rail guns. They don't need a lot of maintenance, maybe a little bit WD-40 on the mech and a bit of silicone spray on the rubbers. Just replace your mono if it gets dodgy.
Yep.
And then you're sweet. But the timber guns need a little bit more care. Good freshwater wash down normally. And this is depending if they're oil coated or epoxy coated.
What's your preference with epoxy or oil?
Preference for me is oil.
Yeah.
Easier for people to finish, like refinish them.
Yeah, yep.
Instead of having an epoxy coat or multiple epoxy coats. That's quite hard to refinish if you're not a spear gun builder.
Yeah. My one's already starting to look a little bit worse for wear. It's epoxy coated. Yeah, cool. One of the things I noticed on your website, it says here, like, obviously you've mentioned like a freshwater wash. Do you like having a bucket of water and a hose, or what's your go-to? Like, do you just one big bucket up and down in it, or are you a hose off as well? What is it?
I'm mainly just a hose off.
Yep.
Just give it a good hose and then just put it in the shade, let it dry out, and then you can put it in storage.
All right, sick. Cool. We talked about the funny blokes you dive with before. Have you guys got a decent poo story? Or I haven't heard one for a while.
A decent what?
Poo story.
Not off the top of my head.
Well, what's a good funny gag you guys have pulled off on a day out?
I don't know. Haven't really got many. Normally just diving.
I think sometimes in Brisbane, because we've got like an hour boat ride out to Moreton Island or Straddie or wherever we're going, you sort of have to have some stupidity on the way out or the way in just to kind of keep the day's energy high. So I think we have more silliness than most. You guys down there are a little bit spoilt. Like everything sort of seems to be, unless you're going right out, it doesn't seem to be such long punches in the boat. Would that be fair?
Yeah, it's quite easy unless we're going out to the fads, and then it's about a 30K run. But other than that, it's pretty easy. Actually, I do have quite a funny story. The start of this year, we were out diving up Southwest Rocks, and 3 o'clock in the arvo, we looked at the water and we were like, oh, it looks pretty good. We'll go for a dive. Looked out west and there's a massive storm front coming. And so we thought, oh, it's a perfect idea to go for a dive.
Yeah.
Put the boat out. It's starting to blow 25 knots. And then we get out to where we want to dive and it's blowing like 35, 40 knots. And this storm front's right on top of us and the smoke on the water. And they were like, we probably should go in. Try to turn around, go in, and then all of a sudden 45 knots and an absolute cyclone on top of us.
Oh, hectic. Proper squall.
So, we went diving for 40 minutes and nearly sunk the boat.
Not worth it, eh?
Oh, well, it was good when we left.
Oh, hectic, man. Josh talked about your love for blue water and big king hunting. Let's just say I'm coming down to meet you at Southwest or Coffs or one of those locations down there. I've never shot a kingy before, and you're taking me out. What's your go-to advice?
Go-to advice is find a underwater reef or pinnacle or something that is in line with current. So a lot of current is hitting this pinnacle where it's going to hold bait.
Yep.
And that's a good place to start hunting kingies.
Cool.
Where there's a lot of turbulence, a lot of nutrients, where a lot of little fish, and little bait fish can feed. And then normally where there's a little bait fish, the big predators start to turn.
Okay. And will I need to dive to the bottom? Do I need to hold my breath for 2 minutes?
No. What I've found hunting kingies is the best place to find kingies is they just sit underneath the bait. They'll come up and head back down and they'll just hunt just underneath the bait. So what you need to do is just to dive just below the bait or just inside the bait. And normally you'll see a big king come up straight through the bait. And then you can just swim down and dong him on the head.
And if I shoot a kingy and it's like, let's just say it's like an 11 kilo one, but the school looked like there was some 15 kilo numbers in there. And should I reef the kingy straight in, or what would be my plan?
Depending on the shot.
Yep.
If it's a crossbody, say, pectoral fin through gill plate, yeah, you can go as hard as you want. Yep. But if it's a real low gut shot, little bit of skin hanging off, you got to play that fish. Otherwise, it's going to rip off, and then you're just injuring a fish for no point.
What are the benefits for my buddies if I just play the fish slowly?
Oh, yeah, if you want to bring more kings in and you got buddies there, just let it sit down there and swim around, and a lot of the kings will ball up on it.
Yeah.
And then it allows your buddies to go down and shoot some more fish.
So for guys that are like fairly early on their spearing that would love to shoot like a big fun fish like a kingy, they don't have to worry necessarily about hitting the bottom, you'd say? No.
I'd more stick to diving places where current hits a ledge or a pinnacle. You don't have to be on the bottom. The kings will be up high in the water column hunting.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. You will see some on the bottom, but normally they're traveling through. If they're on the bottom, they're traveling through, they're not interested in you, they won't hang around.
Cool.
Whereas, oh, sorry.
No, all good. Let's just say you got a junior out from the Central Coast Club there, and he's done a bit of shore diving, bit of rock hopping, and he's been smashing the drummer and giving them a good touch up. But he's got out on the boat with you, and you guys have put him on to the kingies. What are some things that he would need to be aware of if he's going to shoot a bigger fish like a kingy?
G'day guys, Old Man Blue here. Made some 30-metre heavy-duty float lines. Just thought I'd quickly give you a breakdown of them again. 2 shark clips, little D-shackles. It's got the lanyard to help you carry if you've got a load to carry. Little shock cord lanyard that basically gives you this effect. So basically it keeps it all nicely and neat together once you store it on a boat or hang it up at home. A new improvement is we've actually made our braking system much longer. This part attached to your float. So now we have 2 parts attached to your float. So once it's under tension, it will just pull tight. And on the opposite side, that's the Speargun side. You've got the same setup, heavy duty shark clip with a D-shackle. You can remove it and run your Speargun straight into this. Happy hunting, guys. Only the best.
Did you know I have never seen a person hit the surface and yell, "Dad, help, I'm about to black out, come save me." No, they typically hit the surface, take a couple breaths, and then quietly sink into the abyss. Whether they live or die is 100% dependent on if you are close enough to grab them and take care of the situation. My name is Ted Hardy, the founder of Immersion Freediving, and I want to do more to stop the needless fatalities from shallow water blackout than any other person on the planet. And that's why I created freedivingsafety.com. You can learn how to reduce your risk of having a blackout, how to save your buddy's life, how to tell if you're wearing too much weight, and avoid breathing techniques that drastically increase your risk of having a blackout. And it's all for free. Go to freedivingsafety.com and sign up for my free safety course. Dive safe out there. It's not even that hard, especially when you can learn for free at freedivingsafety.com.
How cool is it going on a spearfishing adventure with like-minded frothers? I love tapping into this vibe and energy and being around people that have exactly the same values and want to just get their froth on for a week of spearfishing. If you are interested in doing a course, charter or trip, I would love to hear about it. Go to spearfishingcourses.com.au/interested and register. Tell me where you want to do a course or charter. Let me know. And if I've got a bunch of people that are keen and like-minded, we're going to put that trip together and make it happen. Again, go to spearfishingcourses.com.au/interested and fill out your details there. And let's get some trips on the road and get out there and get our froth on with a spearfishing adventure of a lifetime.
Making sure your gear's dialed.
Okay.
Making sure your new shooting lines, you don't want dodgy shooting lines. Making sure your hunting areas where you're not knowing that it's going to hold kings, but you've been informed that it will.
Yep.
And then you just got to hit those pressure points.
Yeah.
And then also diving with a really good team of mates.
Yeah, nice.
That's a big key to it.
And would you recommend for a first-time guy particularly a rig line and float setup or reel?
Definitely rig line and float.
Yeah.
Just for the first initial times, because you can have your reel line can lock up, and if you're not running a belt reel, it's a real technical way of diving.
Yeah.
Especially when you're starting out.
Yep.
It can be quite dangerous.
Yeah.
So definitely rig line and float and just a normal conventional gun.
Mm. Have you ever got tangled on a big fish? In the floating line, in the shooting line, or your float line, or any reel line?
Not really that I can think of. I did get tangled a little bit a couple of months ago, a little cobia, but I had my hand in its gills and it was just doing circles around me. So it's just trying to be aware
where
of
the
it
line
happening
is.
and then getting out of it as quickly as possible.
Yeah, cool.
Especially if you're using reels.
Yep.
And like when you're swimming, pulling the fish in through the reel line and it bundling all up behind you.
Yeah.
You don't want to get caught in your belt reel or in your belt or around your dive knife or around your fins.
So you just swim.
You just got to be aware.
Swim up a little bit and sort of let the line trail out.
Swim as you're pulling it in, so it's all going behind you.
Yeah, nice. Awesome. How do you, if you're down there, right, and you're below the bait and you're like, man, this feels like kingy country, but they just haven't come in yet, what would you do?
Depending on the amount of time I've stayed there, and if I've dived this spot before and I've known, like, I'd hang there for a while, because if it's good and it's got bait and I know there's kingies here before, then I'd definitely hang around because they will eventually turn up either on a tide change or a bit later in the day, or you could leave, go check another spot and then come back later.
Yep.
And hunt that area, because if it's holding bait and you know there's been kingies been there before, they'll definitely turn up.
Are you pretty good at identifying bait species?
Yeah.
Okay. So what bait do you like for kingies?
Either slimies or yakkers.
Yep.
Mainly because the kingies are a southern fish, so they're not really eating fusiliers. You will get a few up north eating them, but they'll more sit on the scads.
Yeah, nice.
Yakkers.
Have you done a bit of line fishing?
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah. So I always find line fishermen have got a real good awareness about bait, how it looks and presents on a sounder. They just seem to have it dialed a wee bit on what's eating what like feeding behavior of fish.
Yep.
So your slimy mackerel and your yakka are sort of your preferred bait species. Do they school differently? Does that bait have different behavioral characteristics, like in terms of where it sits in the water column, how it bunches, coloration, that sort of thing?
Oh, most definitely. Especially with the scads, you can definitely tell when they're getting touched up by pelagics.
Scales.
Like they'll be really erratic, tightly packed, swimming around really fast. So will the slimies.
Yep.
But if you're at a spot, so just touching on the bit before, if the bait's all airy, open, just cruising, chilling around, that's a pretty good indication that there's no predators.
Nice.
Because they'll be real calm, and then when there are predators, they're super fired up. They're all barred up. You can see little bars on them, and that means they're trying to pack in, blend together.
Yep.
And that's when they're getting attacked.
Yeah. Nice.
And that's when you should spend some time hunting there.
Good advice, man. I like it. So you said you've been spearing like it was about 20 years or something, was it?
16 roughly.
Who got you into it?
Couple of mates at TAFE actually, when I was doing my first year apprenticeship.
Nice.
They were diving and I was just mates with them through TAFE, and then they invited me to go diving, and that started the rabbit hole.
You're the proverbial duck to water. Were you good straight away or?
Yeah, I've been surfing most of my life and been in the water, around the water all my life. So it was it was like fishing, just underwater.
Did you join a club straight away or later?
Pretty much straight away.
And Central Coast Club?
Yeah, so I got into Speargun, and then a couple of months after I started, I did a freediving course, and the instructor of the freediving course was part of the Sea Lions.
Oh, who was that?
He invited me. The instructor?
Yeah.
Tiger Fit.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think he's doing that anymore.
Yeah, righto.
But he was part of the club, and so I joined the club, and that was it. Started diving with Albie and all that.
Yeah.
And all the boys, and that's what started the addiction.
Nice. Wow, it's awesome. Let's head on out with a bit of a faster paced round of questions. Just shoot and fire if you can.
Yep.
If you could go anywhere in the world to spear for 1 week, where would you go?
Pico Island in the Azores or Madagascar.
What would you chase in either?
Big bluefin tuna and wahoo in the Azores, and doggies and sailfish in the Madagascar.
Nice.
Or Latham Island.
Okay, yeah. You're listing out a few good ones there. Who's been the most influential person or people in your spearfishing?
Oh, I don't really know. I suppose a lot of the boys early in the club taking me under their wing and diving and taking me on trips, like Albie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time diving with Albie, and I suppose all the boys in the club early in the piece of my diving career, they big influence on my diving ability and how I learned how to hunt fish.
Awesome. What is the single best piece of advice you've ever been given for spearfishing?
Take your time.
Yeah.
Don't rush it.
Yep.
Yeah. Fish know when you're trying to rush it, and they'll read your body language better than anything else that you can do underwater. So take your time and learn how to hunt fish.
Good. I like it.
Don't be aggressive.
Good. Last question. What does the spearfishing experience mean to you in one sentence?
The ability to put food on your plate, but have fun doing it at the same time.
Nice. Oh, good. Stephen Montgomery, Steve-O, Monty, Stevie. He likes all of these nicknames. Throw them at him. He is the founder and the builder of Bombora Spearguns. Check him out on Instagram. If you go to noobspearo.com/Bombora, I'll link up all of Stephen's details and anything else we chatted about today. But pleasure to have you on the show, mate.
Mate, thank you for having me. It was great fun.
Yeah, massive shout out to the Central Coast Sea Lions too. Bunch of legends in that club. Such a great culture. And I hope good things for them for a long, long, long time. And you guys, by the way, did a really ripper job with the Hawkesbury and some of the drama that we've had. Just making sure that we're represented, at some of the highest levels when it comes to some of the silly legislation that tries to get pushed through.
Yeah. Yeah, the Blues did a real good job. So
100% they did.
big props to them.
We all stand on their shoulders, and it's what allows us to keep doing this thing. Hey, awesome, Stephen, mate. We're getting on in the night. Really appreciate you making time for me today, and a little bit of scheduling issues, but you didn't even make a big deal out of it. You're a legend.
Oh, that's fine. Thank you for having me.
Hey legends, hope you enjoyed Stephen Montgomery today. Really cool hearing about, I guess, his process and his history around Bombora Spearguns and the decisions he's ended up making with regards to materials and components and all of that sort of shebang. If you geek out on spearguns, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Again, go to Noob Spearo on YouTube and jump in the video podcast comments there and engage. Talk about something, maybe one of your ideas that got challenged in this podcast, maybe something you agree with or disagree. Why? I'd love to hear your thoughts, and YouTube is a good place if you're listening to or watching the video podcast. Hey, as mentioned previously, Patreon listeners are powering this podcast. Go to patreon.com/Noob Spearo if you'd like to support month on month. You can do so for as little as, I think, $3 a month. And all of that fuel goes straight in the Noob Spearo outboard, and it's a thirsty sucker. I'll give you the hot tip. But anyway, hey, the other last shout out is episode 300 is right around the corner. I would love to hear from you. I would love to hear your experience in and around the podcast and what it means to be part of this community. While you listen to the podcast, any super frothy fish story or scary moment, something you've learned, leave me a voice message up to 3 minutes. Go to noobspearo.com, head up into the menu, give back, and find Noober stories. You can leave me a voice message up to 3 minutes. Otherwise, you're welcome to record a video and send it through to shrek@noobspearo.com. I'd love to hear from you. Episode 300, I love to put a foot of a flagstone down and just sort of make that episode, every episode on the hundreds about the community and about you guys, the listeners, and we'll just keep rolling on, keep making another 100 episodes. If people are listening to it, people are loving it and sharing it around, then why not? I'm still enjoying myself. So hey, thanks for liking, subscribing, doing all the good stuff, guys, and sharing it around, leaving reviews, whatever you're doing. I appreciate it. But that's it for another episode for me. Shrek, over and out. Hey guys, this episode brought to you by Astard Roller Pole Spears. Astard is a brand rooted in craftsmanship and tradition, inspired by the Japanese freedivers, the Armour. Their logo, a hand-drawn star, symbolizes starting from a single point, exploring and returning safely, capturing the essence of their journey and design philosophy. Founded by Adam, who spent 15 years in southern Japan, but originally from West Australia. He has a background in aviation, digital, and photography. And him and his lifelong friend Kim, and a mechanical genius herself, founded Astard, which embodies a passion for quality, innovation, and versatility. Check them out at astard.co. They have a roller pole spear that will make your head spin. I'll give you the hot tip. Check it out at astard.co. Use the code NoobSpearo. Have free shipping anywhere on the planet. You can't get any better than that. Go to astard.co. Check out their roller pole spear. You need one in your arsenal today. Check it out. Use the code NoobSpearo for free shipping anywhere in the world. Some days when you've maybe shot those 4 or 5 fish that you came for, might be time to pull out the pole spear, jump back in and rediscover that passion and learning that you had right at the start of your journey. This is one of the best tools for becoming a better hunter. Check it out, astard.co. Are you US based, looking for freediving, spearfishing gear? Neptonics is the best. Their online website, so easy to use. If you've got any questions, Jerry and the team answer questions via phone, email. Anyway, they've got an easy contact form on the site.
These guys are absolute legends, and if they sell it, they believe in it, they back it, they use it themselves. It's tough gear that works. Visit neptonics.com. Use the code NOOB10 to save 10% on any order at neptonics.com. That's right. Use the code NOOB10, N-O-O-B 10 on your next order. Save 10% at neptonics.com. Today's Noob Spirit podcast is brought to you in partnership with Adreno. Live it, breathe it with the world's largest dive store. Huge range of equipment. Always growing, always changing. They are the world's largest dive store. They are available just about everywhere. They have hassle-free returns, massive range of equipment, price match guarantee, and you can check them out online. You can even use the code NoobSpirit to save $20 on every purchase over $200 at adreno.com.au. Check them out. Boom!